I'm Janine. This is KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and this is Get the Funk Out. Standing by to join me is Desiree Staples. She's executive producer and lead actress of this hilarious film I'm so excited to talk about, My Divorce Party.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me again. Thrilled to be here.
What inspired you to make this film? Or you're going to be making the film?
Yeah. This spring is when we're slated as of now, which is exciting and ambitious, despite the coronavirus pandemic. But that was a part of it. But the writer, director, Heidi Weitzer, we've been in a writers, actors collective for a while called Deadline Junkies. I also recommend that to new writers in LA, or seasoned writers. It's all different levels.
Okay.
And I've admired her work forever. And she brought in some pages from My Divorce Party. And the whole premise of the group is workshopping new work. And specifically, it's female driven. It's very funny. It reminds me of Bridesmaids and The Hangover, but sort of a decade later with our
Definitely.
current 2021 twist. Exactly. Yeah. And I loved that it focuses on these 5 girls that are helping my character Zan through her divorce outside in Joshua Tree, which is a really cool location. I went there for the first time a couple of weeks ago and is a character in itself, and went, oh, wait, this might be really doable to film despite the world we're in right now and get it out in time for people who need a major laugh. Because I think we still do. We've got some more time in this kind of nebulous coronavirus world. Yeah. So the more laughs we get, the better, I think.
I agree. I mean, I think it's really timely, Desiree, because you think about people that are going through conflicts with their partners and it could lead to a divorce, or they've already went through a divorce, before this, and they're under a lot of stress and we need some levity.
Yes.
And had you heard of divorce parties? I think I might have, but I'm not sure.
This one is based loosely on a real divorce party that Heidi's friends went to, but no, I hadn't. And that's what made me laugh more too, because even in my own family, there's divorce. And actually, I'm so glad you brought it up, as I was just looking at the pandemic, especially it's spiking like no other. So very relatable topic. And
definitely,
I think it is really important that and in our day and age and growing as a society, that divorce, of course, it's a difficult chapter and not perhaps what you anticipated, but it's not an end all be all. It's just one chapter that you're going through. And what we really touch on in the film is Zan needs this divorce to become the person that she wants to be.
Yes.
And that whole mindset around it with a comedic lens, and these girls, ending up trying to spend thousands of dollars there and ending up at the Joshua Strip Club and buying a giant wooden tortoise sculpture, with that kind of also so much heart and levity and kind of those just crazy things that happen when you get your girlfriends all together and the energies are,
oh my gosh,
flowing. So I'm really glad you brought that up, that it is difficult subject matter, and that's why it is a dark comedy, but looking at it in a way that is that promotes growth and the journey.
Yeah. And it's reality. I mean, things don't always work out. I have this quote I often tell people: sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing that ever happened.
100%.
So you have to go through this really tough time, as you know, to get through the good stuff. And I feel like that's one of the messages of your film.
Yeah. Yes. So true that, if everything was easy, it wouldn't be, you wouldn't want to attain it. It would be too easy. The difficulties and the hardships, it makes us who we are. And and that, I love that quote. And, the scars that we go through just makes us stronger and stronger. And I love that idea that we have to face these challenges to become our best and continually evolving selves. I think we are always evolving, right? And that's what's wild, is if I look back, I'm only nearing my 3rd decade of life now, but even from like 17 to 25 to 28, it's like constantly I feel a very different person than I was.
Huge changes.
Yeah. And I have no doubt that will continue. but that's absolutely, we think that, you gotta make those tough choices and go through those times and have your friends to support you and have your
Right.
chosen family there by your side and vice versa. And that's what's fun too, is although, it's all centered around this one divorce, of course, and them realizing Zan, my character, who shows up in all black with a duffel bag full of money, needs some serious help as she wants to throw it into the fire. That they also, all the girls have their own issues they're also going through that we touch on.
Yeah.
Sobriety is one which I'm very excited about because I don't think I've seen that, really delved
Addressed.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
in a moment where all these girls are celebrating, where alcohol's involved and how you have to deal
Hmm.
with that. Um, Another one is in her own relationship. One is in an open relationship. So it is cool that we get to kind of dive into all these girls' worlds and
Right.
complex stories too.
I mean, it's 2021, so you want to
Yeah.
be as diverse and show different slices of life. I think it's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge for us in front and behind the camera. And I think I was telling you, we're very, very excited that it's an entirely female driven creative team, which
I
is
love
kind of
that.
groundbreaking, shattering the ceiling there, especially in comedy, which is just consistently kind of a male dominated world. So we're just
Right.
flipping that on its head with Heidi, director, writer, myself. We have 3 other female identifying producers, and the star cast is obviously, these gals that go. And that's really important to us too, as we cast, which we'll probably be diving into next month, making sure it represents our world of shapes, gender orientations, race, etc., etc.
Definitely. So tell me where you are with you have a funding campaign going on.
Yes, we are equity crowdfunding on a platform called WeFunder. Actually, my film last year, Take Me to Tarzana, we raised almost $200,000 for that film.
Whoa,
Yeah,
Desiree.
serious. Yeah, it's no joke. Uh,
Congrats.
Thank
Whoa.
you, thank you. I have to give most of the credit to the amazing team of Take Me to Tarzana, but it is a really amazing platform because it allows supporters and fans to become investors from,
Hmm.
the friends we know. When you put in $100, you then get to earn the opportunity to revenue share, which means any profit from the film, actually all the investors on WeFunder are a part of that.
That's great.
So yeah, it's really a step up from donating, because I know that
Hmm.
that is generous. We love that, but it's
Yeah.
actually bringing them on the team in a more permanent way. And
Sure.
we there's such a great platform of we get to send updates. We're keeping everyone updated on what we're doing. Actually, today it was just announced that the screenplay is now in the semi-finalist round of the Screencraft Film Fund. So woo,
Whoa.
as of an hour ago. Uh,
Excellent.
so it's a very cool platform
Hmm.
where it's in the moment. And yeah, we have $150,000 goal and we're a third there. So
Fantastic.
woo.
I know. Woo. I feel like you have amped up your creativity. I met you a while back, interviewed you for your
Yeah.
other film, but I feel like you have really tapped into something that people could uh, try to emulate to in some respect, being creative during the pandemic.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to it's nice to be reminded sometimes, because we do get, especially
Oh yeah,
these days, in our tunnel vision, and it's like, oh, do we have balance? Am I
get it.
uh,
I'm just
am
going to be imbalanced forever.
right, right. But thank you. I think that, what's really driven me forward with this project is just my collaborators. And that's always been kind of the driving force, is if I have 3 or 4 other people I can go to and say, hey, do you want to make this thing? That then I
Right.
have 3 or 4 other people that go, hey, what do you make sure
Are
to
you out of
send
your
me.
mind?
Right. Reminders and accountability is huge.
Yeah.
But I think and yeah, I think the film itself, something was just calling to me in the fall, and then I was like, I want to make something. I want to make something. And, we're in this world where we can't, or it's even harder than
We're
usual.
limited in our
And we're
parameters. Yeah.
exactly. So it's absolutely giving ourselves a goal of example for this film
Hmm.
around spring. that's a long time frame to make this happen. It's sustainable in bite-sized chunks of doing work every day.
Hmm.
So that would be, yeah, my biggest advice is do something that's, it doesn't have to be a feature film, but maybe even, just a 2-day shoot with friends in the house when it's safe or
Sure.
remotely, and giving them that deadline and just doing little bite-sized
And
chunks
doing
along the way.
shorts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned so much. I mean, I couldn't do this feature if I hadn't done all the shorts before. And of course, your first feature, which was Take Me to Tarzana, was illuminating in so many ways, but it's
Hmm.
really just a longer short.
Sure.
The only thing that's more difficult, not the only thing, but the major thing that's different is the stamina. So being able to get up at 5 every day and work 13 hours as a producer for
Sure.
17 days is different than 3. But
Yes.
other than that, it's the same equipment,
Yeah.
getting the cast, getting the food,
Yeah.
and all that all that jazz. So I think once you do a 2-dayer, you can do a 10-dayer, and then
Yeah.
you can do a 20-dayer. So it all builds, and what you learn along the way is so invaluable, and it is addicting in a way, which is cool, of like, okay, this time everything went perfectly, but I want to do this differently, and I want to steal this production designer from the short I did, and I want to
Perfect.
steal the sound designer from the feature I did, and form this like perfect, well, that's not the right word, um just lovely team of humans you want to work with.
Sure. Yeah.
This strategic, wonderful, artistic commune kind of
Hmm.
situation. So that's what gets me
I
excited.
love that. I have a question though. People watching this who are creatives, when you do create a short, let's say you do the script, you submit it to, let's say, Film Freeway, right?
Yeah.
It gets into different festivals that you submit to, and then you decide to produce it. Uh, do you really need like a feature, or does a short get you eyeballs? Does it get notice?
Oh, I think a short can absolutely get notice. I
Mhm.
think you have to break through the noise, and we're also have that in mind a lot with My Divorce Party,
Yeah.
because there are just so many shorts
Yes.
and stories, which is amazing. But if it's authentic and it's yours, I've always found, I was so lucky last year to work on It's What She Would Have Wanted, which is another female driven film, and a film called Circus Person. And both were so different. Like Circus Person is this artistic, um, very experimental, short about heartbreak. And It's What She Would Have Wanted is a dark comedy about friendship and growing up, and they both found great homes,
I love
and
that.
Circus Person was at Tribeca, both were at Mill Valley, and that was fun. That then they crossed over a bit too. But no, I mean, then there's so many stories of shorts that are at Sundance or Tribeca or South by Southwest that then an investor or studio goes, we want to make the feature. So as long
That's
as
what I
it's
thought.
yeah, so it's both are totally doable, and I think shorts are a great place when you're starting out, or just creating the next chapter of like, this is my calling card, this is what I want to do,
Hmm.
this is aesthetically how it looks, this is the
Right.
things I want to explore, and yeah, that sort of way.
And it's also bite size. It's a smaller, as you said, it could take you 3 days as opposed to 17,
Yeah,
and it's doable. And I think the more you do these little pieces of art,
yeah,
um, your muscles get stronger, and
yes.
and you form your team, and you learn more about yourself and the craft. And I think that's great advice. Yeah.
And you get more choosy. As my mother likes to tell me, it's very important to cherry pick, and something like My Divorce Party that I watched and heard the pages of, I was like, oh, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
This is my jam.
Sure.
And it is interesting how, at the beginning of this, I was like, how this all began for me is I did a 48-hour film festival, a short film festival, and got people together. And that's its own beast. And then over 4 years now, it's evolved to the influencers. It's What She Would Have Wanted, Circus Person,
Hmm.
Take Me to Tarzana, and now this one. And a lot of them have these themes of female friendship and complex relationships and diversity in front and behind the camera and
Right.
comedy, and making people laugh. So it's been like, I didn't have that in mind, right?
Mhm.
But that's just what happened. And
Sure.
now I have a brand, and then people come to me and go, oh, I love this like Rolodex of work you're doing and how they're all connected. I'm like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I totally thought of that. So anyway, that's been really just really cool too. And the journey of it is
Mhm.
kind of the pieces start choosing you. And it's been a very cool artistic, creative, and personal journey of what I've been working on.
Yeah. That's incredible. It's just so inspiring because it's so important right now to find something to put yourself into to keep yourself positive.
Yeah.
And if anybody's a writer, director, filmmaker, actor, it's a wonderful thing to listen to what you have to say. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. And yes, the goal is to continue inspiring, because there are many days where I'm, feeling like I'm in a
Yeah.
nebulous ether world. And then I listen to a podcast or I watch a movie, just watched
Hmm.
Promising Young Woman. Oh my gosh.
What did you watch?
Promising Young Woman. That's the Carey Mulligan
Oh yeah.
uh, new film. Oh, Bo
Yeah.
Burnham, so good. That one's a really, really dark comedy.
Hmm.
But those things that stick with you, and
Yeah.
so we're all taking care of each other, and we're all supporting each other and inspiring each other. So that's the goal, is to give some inspiration, get some inspiration,
Right.
hopefully.
And you never know where your next idea is going to come from,
That's very exciting too.
isn't
That's
it?
so true. Yeah.
It could be the simplest thing, like you witnessed something, you were out and you saw something and it just was so funny.
Yeah.
And you could imagine these characters, all different ages, all women.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
that's really true. And I love things that are based on truth. And that is funny with It's What You Would Have Wanted and Circus Person and this. We're all sort of based on true stories and true
Mhm.
funny situations that occur. And the influencers, in a way of, that was all stemmed from, that's my comedy series, where I lived when I first moved to LA on Sunset and Vine in the huge blue tower with all of these Vine stars. But now Vine is dead, but and there's TikTok now. But when
Right.
Vine was hot, I was living with all of them, and totally a fish out of water, just out of Northwestern, now thrown into like the craziest apartment building in the world.
Oh,
And from there I was like, oh, there's something here. And that's so just, writing about the crazy world we're in
perfect.
leads to. So you're totally right. You never know. And there are a lot of days where I was like, what crazy place is this, where everyone's at the pool doing live streams at 9 a.m. and
Exactly.
please be quiet, and drones everywhere. But but it also is such good material. And now I look back at those times longingly, and it
As a
makes me
gift.
laugh. And as a gift, totally.
Yeah. What else would you like people to know about the film?
Yes. So check us out. We have a link on WeFunder. It's wefunder.com/My Divorce Party, the movie. And you can be a fan. You can be a supporter. You can invest, heck, if you want to. But just sharing it even and telling your friends, that's kind of the biggest thing right now. And we also have an Instagram and a Facebook. Instagram, My Divorce Party, the film. Facebook, My Divorce Party, the film, and a Twitter, My Divorce Party, the film.
Okay.
So if you would, we just actually launched all of those. So they're just baby accounts that are building followers as well. So any shares, likes would be fantastic. And you'd be supporting female filmmakers and independent filmmakers.
Yay.
So we appreciate that.
I feel like the branding for this could be huge. My
Oh, yeah.
divorce party cakes, my divorce party party.
So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
We've been ending our pitch decks and our pitches to investors saying, come celebrate our divorce with us. And I think that's such a fun, surprising
Right.
world. We're inviting people to celebrate this thing that's usually a sad moment. And I think, that's a part with so many other things, death and loss of,
Mhm.
let's take this lemon and squeeze it and make a tequila cocktail, like, and just, and inviting people to look at things in a different way, with a cheeky tone. So that's
Yeah,
going to be our whole brand and voice
I
is
love
the
it.
tongue in cheek,
I love it.
come hang out with us.
One
And
last thing I didn't mention to you, because I've told you this before. I love the poster. Tell
oh,
me
thank
about the
you.
poster.
Yeah, so we shot that actually in my backyard, very COVID shoot. We had 3 different settings we did, but that one was in the back of the car. I think that might have been the last one we did actually. So it worked out because I was a little tired. But the first one we did on a trail that looked like a desert, and that was pretty cool. And then one in a bathtub, and then that one. And across the board,
That
you
one.
know, that one won. And it was
Yeah.
fun because I do get to look at it as a character versus myself. And we just kept playing with, there's a flask in the shirt and
Yeah.
alcohol on the sides and the phone. And just, I've definitely had those moments in my relationships ending and beginning anew,
Sure.
where you had a really wild night
Yeah.
and you are,
There's a bra hanging from the ceiling.
and you somehow have got to make it to the next day or make it to work or make it to that meeting.
Right.
So that's where she's at. And
You
we've
nailed
gotten
it with that one. You nailed it.
we've gotten a great response.
Yeah.
And it is cool that, we have this visual teaser graphic now from which all else can
Yeah.
stem from, but with that image of the hilariousness and debauchery and hope. That people were really, really across the board. And I got a shout out to Chargefield, the graphic designer. He was unbelievable, and our photographer Javier.
Definitely.
They
Yeah.
they rocked it.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. Give your website one more time. I know you're on Facebook and everywhere, but
wefunder.com/my divorce party the movie.
all right. Excellent. Desiree, great talking to you.